Imagine, if you will, a clockmaker. He takes all of the cogs and gears, screws and springs, and puts them together to form a perfectly precise masterpiece. The individual parts of the clock all have their specific place and job, but if just one were out of place, or simply not there, the clock would not function. This illustrates for us the concept of unity in a fairly basic form. Geese fly in formations, ants form communities, many species of fish swim in schools. Is this what unity means? Well, unity is the state or fact of being united or combined into one, as of the parts of a whole. Sure, we know what the word means literally, but what does it really mean? From what John tells us, it's something rather close to this exact definition. I made your name known to them, and I will make it known, so that the love with which you have loved me may be in them, and I in them. So it's not just acting as a unit, but loving as a unit. Loving all parts of something, and not just the small bits. We as humans tend to fall short on this aspect of unity fairly often. We can't love someone for all of their being, their good points as well as their imperfections. We see these as flaws, use them as reasons to not associate with these people. But ask yourself, is that really justified? Many organizations act tactically as units, but capitalize on the flaws of others. I know it's a bit of a lesser-known concept, but take, for instance, the Hutu people during the Rwandan genocide. They acted solely for one purpose, but were fueled by the hatred of a particular group of people. The anti-civil rights groups had the same basic structure. Each member had a sole purpose anchored firmly in difference. Now, we know that this is wrong, but we are guilty of doing this same thing sometimes, though it is, of course, not to the same degree. We judge people, we berate and belittle people, and we shun those who are different. Why? Because we are scared. Scared to experience change. Scared to see and learn something new. In our case, the idea of unity with everyone certainly is a new concept. There are very few people in this present time who are genuinely nice to everyone. That means regardless of race, social class, intelligence level, gender, and age. I've had the privilege to know a few people like this, but in the overwhelming maelstrom of negative attitudes and the swirling tempest of hatred that surrounds us all on a daily basis, people like this tend to get drowned out in the chaos. I will go ahead and admit that I am guilty of judging people, and I'm not ashamed to admit that because I know that I'm not the only one. I realize that the act of judging someone pushes me away from being one with everyone, but it has become so commonplace now that it is almost human nature. Still, that does not make passing judgment on others right. Love thy neighbor as thyself, says Leviticus chapter 19, verse 18. Even in the third book of the Bible, the general idea of loving all to be one with all was beginning to take shape. So how is it that we can ignore this concept, one introduced so early on in a book that many people take so literally? There are those who proclaim that everything they do is by the book, and that judging is God's right alone and everyone deserves love. But these self-same people can then turn around and call people out for what they consider to be wrongdoings and abominations, as is the case with the ever-present gay rights issue. We condemn people for their personal preferences. What happened to loving our neighbors? How does this represent unity? We cannot truly be one with our fellow Christians, or everyone else for that matter, if we are constantly on the watch for ways that they are not as good of a Christian as we are, not as good of a human as we are. With all this talk of judgment, you would think either this is the apocalypse or this sanctuary has just turned into Judy's courtroom. There is a glimmer of hope to human unity, however. In many churches, as I've witnessed, if one member of the congregation falls to misfortune or tragedy, the others will put together in order to assist their fallen comrade. People will donate money and time, deliver food, sometimes entire meals, help with daily chores or even big jobs, or just stop and ask how their life is going. This display of caring can only stem at some depth from this concept of unity. It is on occasions such as this that a long-lost faith in humanity is restored. So are we one? Are we unified? Well, I suppose not, thinking about everything that's been said thus far. But looking back on those people I mentioned that show qualities pushing towards unity may be able to help move us in that direction, if we can only follow their example. I realize this is much easier said than done, of course. I'd be hard-pressed to be that way all the time myself. But starting in increments, small as they may be, is the best place to begin. So we should show some compassion for others, let loose a little, and allow for some tolerance of those that we couldn't normally tolerate. Being kind to people is an almost therapeutic experience and can help us get over our fear of change. Change is one of our greatest enemies in this quest toward unity. We're scared of trying something that's not the same as what we've been doing, scared to fall out of our pattern. It's understood that change is not easy, but in order for us to be unified with our fellow humans, a change in our perceptions and attitudes must occur. We need to open up our minds who will believe in me through their word, that they may all be one. But we do not call for such extreme measures. Those have already been explored. All we need to do now is act upon them. Use the love given to us so long ago for its purpose, bringing us all together as one so that we may be one in the eyes of God. Amen.